Ayurveda Part 4, Nutrition and the Six Tastes. So we'll start with setting intentions for today's class, and then I'll answer a few questions. How do you know if your dosha is out of balance? What are the six tastes and how do they relate to the elements? And how can you balance your dosha with the six tastes and your eating habits? So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I'll share a link for you to take the Dosha Quiz to discover your dosha or your innate body, mind, constitution, so you can begin customizing your lifestyle choices right away. So let's go ahead and get started. And again, I'm so glad you decided to join for this class, and it's an honor to share Ayurveda with you. So let's set some intentions. Let's spend a few moments getting clear on what we want out of this class today. What are our intentions? So remember that all intentions are valid. Therefore, in a moment when I ask you to reflect on your intentions, just simply listen to yourself and honor whatever arises. So please close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths and place your attention in the area of your heart and listen to the response to these questions. What drew you specifically to this class about Ayurveda? What drew you to this class today? What do you hope to gain from these teachings of Ayurveda? What do you hope to gain from this class today? Good. When you're ready, please open your eyes. And I'd love to hear from you. Please share in the comments section what came up for you. Anything that you have to share as far as an intention, or if you have any questions, feel free to drop a comment in the comment section throughout the video anytime you feel like you'd like to connect with me in that way. All right, beauties. So let's go ahead and get started. So through the last couple of weeks in this 9-part Ayurveda series, we discussed what the heck is Ayurveda. So I defined Ayurveda. Then I explained the Mahabhutas, or the 5 great elements, and which elements make up your dosha or your body type. And then I talked about the characteristics of each of the 3 doshas, which are Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So that's what we've done up until this point. And now I'll explain what a dosha imbalance looks like and what you can do to balance your body type specifically. And this is really the first class in the series where we discuss ways to balance your dosha. And we start with nutrition and the 6 tastes. And that's what we'll talk about today. So how do you know if your dosha is out of balance? Last week, we talked about your dosha being in balance. How do you know if your dosha is out of balance? So each of the mind-body principles, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, have balanced expression and an out of balance expression. So again, we'll talk about what it looks like when the dosha is out of balance today. So you know when you need to take extra steps to bring it into balance. So when doshas are circulating in the body, mind, physiology in appropriate proportions, we feel healthy and we feel happy. Our bodies are functioning. They're working in harmony with nature and itself. However, when we follow an improper diet and make unhealthy lifestyle choices, these principles may become disturbed and cause distress in the mind or the body. So how do we know if we have a Vata imbalance? What does that mean exactly? So imbalances in Vata often lead to dryness of skin, hair, fingernails, large intestines. Dryness is a symptom of Vata. And symptom of Vata imbalance includes irregular appetite, delicate digestion, constipation, gas, bloating. These are all signs that you have a Vata imbalance. And how do we know if we have a Pitta imbalance? So imbalances in Pitta create an excess of heat and acidity in the body. That fire gets out of control. And this may lead to symptoms such as skin rashes, irritations, burning pain in digestive tract, indigestion, heartburn, all having to do with excess fire. And how do we know if we have a Kapha imbalance? So imbalances in Kapha can lead to weight gain, retention of fluids, diabetes, allergies, and sinus congestion, which all reflect that excess of earth principle, heavy earth principle. So someone with a Kapha imbalance is likely to feel sluggish or congested, lazy, lethargic, things like that. So how do you balance the doshas if you experience any of this? So throughout the remainder of this Ayurvedic series, I'll share how to balance the doshas through the 6 pillars of health. And again, they are nutrition, movement, sleep, meditation, healthy emotions, and self-care. And each of the following weeks, I'll discuss one of them. So you can find your customized routine of life medicine to create your perfect health through those topics of balancing yourself in the viewpoint of Ayurveda. So today we're going to talk about how to balance the doshas with nutrition and the 6 tastes. So what are the 6 tastes and how do they balance each dosha? So long before National Academy of Sciences provided us with recommended daily allowances for fats, carbohydrates, and proteins, we listened to our taste buds to determine which substances were edible and how much of them we needed to consume to find balance within our body. We just knew that instinctively. And in her infinite wisdom, nature has packaged foods into 1 or more 6 tastes as a way to inform us about the food's influence on our body and mind physiology. So the 6 tastes are sweet, madhura in Sanskrit, sour, amla in Sanskrit, salty, lavana in Sanskrit, pungent, katu, bitter, tikta, and astringent, kashya. Sweet, sour, salty, pungent, bitter, and astringent. And including all the 6 tastes in every meal not only ensures that all major food groups and nutrients are represented, but it also provides us with a feeling of satisfaction. You have probably had that experience of feeling full, but not completely satisfied after eating a portion of food. And this is usually due to a failure to include all 6 tastes in your meal. So what is the connection between the 6 tastes and the 5 elements? So taste is made from the same 5 elements that make up the doshas: space, air, fire, water, and earth. And each taste has an effect on Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So when our doshas are out of balance, these 6 tastes can help repair this imbalance. So since this is probably a new way of categorizing types of food, let's talk a little about each of the tastes and what effect they have on the body. So let's start with sweet. So sweet, or madhura in Sanskrit, is the taste of energy. And it is made up of the elements of water and earth. So sweet is the main taste in starchy foods like breads, pasta, and rice. Also, it's the main taste in meat, fat, and sweets as sugar, honey, molasses, sweet tasting things. So that is the taste of sweet. Let's look at sour. So sour, or amla in Sanskrit, is the taste of acid and consists of earth and fire elements. So the sour taste is found in citrus fruits, yogurt, cheese, tomatoes, pickles, and vinegar. and it stimulates the production of digestive enzymes because it includes fire. Salty, or lavana in Sanskrit, is the taste of the ocean and is made up of water and fire. It stimulates digestive juices, helps us hold on to water in the body, and accents other tastes. And salty taste is found in sauces, salty meats, fish, table salt, things like that. Pungent, or katu in Sanskrit, is the spicy taste found in hot peppers, salsa, ginger, radishes, mustard, cloves, horseradish, and many spices. And it is made up of the elements of air and fire, still more fire. Bitter, or tikta in Sanskrit, is the taste found in green leafy vegetables, broccoli, kale, sprouts, beets, and celery. It consists of the air and space elements, and the bitter taste promotes weight loss. But if eaten in excess, it may cause some gas or indigestion, so watch that. And then astringent, or kashya in Sanskrit, is the taste found in beans. It's included in tea, coffee, tart apples, grape skins, cranberries, pomegranates, and cauliflower. So this taste is made up of the air and earth element. And astringent foods have a drying and compacting effect on your physiology. So one of the core lessons in Ayurvedic nutrition is to include all 6 tastes in every meal. Each of the 6 tastes provides important nutritional benefits that your body needs. So by including all 6 in each meal, the body intuitively sends signals to the brain when you're fulfilled and when it's time to stop eating. So super important. So those are the 6 tastes and their qualities. And now, how can you balance your dosha with the 6 tastes? The key aspect in creating balance with the 6 tastes are the elements. So the foods that we eat are composed of elements, and our body type, or our dosha, are also made up of the elements. So we can use the combination of elements that make up the food to balance the elements within our bodies, or our dosha. So what taste can you use to balance Vata dosha? So the 3 tastes to favor to balance Vata dosha are sweet, sour, and salty. Sweet, sour, salty to balance Vata dosha. And those with Vata imbalance also need heavy, oily, and warm foods to stay grounded. And you want to minimize pungent, bitter, and astringent foods. Pungent, bitter, astringent foods. And you also want to minimize cold or dry foods. Dry foods can aggravate Vata. So do you see a pattern here? Pungent, bitter, astringent foods, that has air. And you don't want to keep adding air to an air dosha. You see, you want to have earth and grounded elements added so you can balance the air and space in Vata. So you want to add the opposite elements to balance your dosha. The cooking tips to balance Vata dosha are to ensure that your food is cooked and warm, soft meals like soup and stew, hearty soups. Healthy fats and oils are really important for Vata balancing diet. Try stir frying foods to add that extra oil and some heat. So what taste can you use to balance Pitta dosha? So Pitta types need cooling and grounding foods. So the 3 tastes to favor to balance Pitta are sweet, bitter, and astringent, all cooling foods. And that cooling quality, especially in hot environment, can really help to calm the digestive fire of Pitta. And the tastes to minimize are pungent, sour, and salty tastes. So they all have fire in them. So you don't want to keep adding fire to a Pitta imbalance. You want to minimize those flavors, such as alcohol and pickles. Those will all tend to increase heat in the body, which is exactly what someone with a Pitta imbalance does not want. So the cooking tips to balance Pitta dosha are add cooling foods. Add cooling foods. So hot, spicy foods, they're still important in moderation, but they can really add fuel to the strong digestive fire of Pitta. So balance these tastes with cooling spices. Avoid adding additional table salt if you can, and that will be very helpful for Pitta dosha. So what tastes can you use to balance Kapha dosha? So remember, the Kapha dosha is heavy, cool, damp, slow, stable with earth and water elements. So bitter, pungent, astringent tastes balance Kapha because they add dryness and warmth and lightness to the body. So they have air and space in them. And they help to increase metabolism and reduce the body's mass. So those with a Kapha imbalance need warming, light, and spicy foods to increase digestive fire. And the 3 tastes to minimize and reduce in a Kapha balancing diet are sweet, sour, and salty. And this doesn't mean that a Kapha type can never eat foods with sweet, sour, salty tastes. It's just important to include all the 6 tastes at every meal, but with specific amounts adjusted according to one's current state of balance. So whatever your dosha is, minimize the tastes that aggravate that dosha and maximize the tastes that balance that dosha. So the cooking tips for Kapha dosha are choose lighter or less frequent meals, and this will make digestion easier for Kaphas. Try dry cooking, such as grilling or roasting, reducing the oils to prepare Kapha balancing meals, and be generous with warming spices like turmeric, cumin, spices like this. And these are a few ways to balance the doshas through nutrition and the 6 tastes. It's really just balancing the elements within our bodies with the elements within the foods we eat. So when we have an excess of one of those elements through the doshas, air, fire, or earth, we want to reduce those in the food that we eat. Does that make sense? So in conclusion, each of the 6 tastes provides important nutritional benefits that your body needs. And really have fun with your meals and experiment with new and exciting foods and spices to bring in the 6 tastes into your world. It's really fun to play with this once you understand it. And once you understand it's the elements that you're adding to balance the elements within your body. And this will help you balance your dosha and live a happier and healthier life. So now I'll share 2 tea recipes to support balancing your dosha. And you can take a screenshot of these recipes. I'll enlarge the recipe so you can get a full view of it. So let's start with how to balance Vata. Try this ginger tea. This is to generate warmth in the body. Essentially, you're chopping bits of ginger and boiling it in water, straining it, and drinking it. I added a little option of honey or mint or lemon. Totally optional. You don't have to add that if you don't want it. But ginger tea will help balance Vata dosha. Feel free to take a screenshot of this. And then to balance Pitta and Kapha, to cool the body and reduce inflammation, try cumin, coriander, and fennel tea, more commonly known as CCFT, using whole seeds of coriander, cumin, and fennel and boiling it in water, straining it, and drinking it. They're very simple. But feel free to take a screenshot of this. And again, it reduces inflammation and it is cooling to the body. So really great tea for Pitta and Kapha dosha. So you can also find these recipes in the Phoenix Rising Goddess group in guide number 3. In guide number 3, I have many recipes. Feel free to go to guide number 3 and download the recipes that you see there, or see them in the description of the video on YouTube. Now we're going to shift gears and focus on the Dosha Quiz. So that determines your mind-body characteristics and the essential nature that you were born with. And again, Ayurveda has an individual and catered approach of lifestyle medicine for each person by taking into consideration what your body, mind constitution is, or what your dosha is. So I'm adding a link to a dosha quiz in the comments section that you can take to find out what your dosha is. And I'll add that link now. If you're watching on YouTube, it's in the description of the video. So when you're answering the questions, think in terms of which statements have been true for you for most of your life. If you developed an illness in childhood or as an adult, think about how things were for you before that illness. Specifically with mental traits and behavioral traits, since they tend to be more subjective, you should answer according to how you have felt and acted most of your life. So knowing your dosha gives you insight on what you can focus on to personalize your healthy lifestyle choices through the 6 pillars of health. And those 6 pillars of health are nutrition, movement, sleep, meditation, healthy emotions, and self-care. And those are the 6 pillars that I will address in the lens of Ayurveda through the rest of the series. So again, we'll focus more on balancing your specific doshas and the 6 pillars of health. Next, learn more about how Ayurveda views emotional and mental health. It's going to be a wonderful class, so I hope you can join. But for now, take the quiz and we'll continue our discussion in this beautiful Ayurveda series so you can discover the best practices to balance your dosha. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments section. I'm happy to answer them, whether you're live or on the replay. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will get back to you right away. So thank yourself for giving yourself the gift of Ayurveda, and I thank you for joining me today. Namaste.